everybody, and welcome to our Engaging Associate Faculty series. My name is Kate Johnson, and I am the Manager of Faculty Engagement, and I am excited to have Stacy Manning, Core Faculty from the Division of General Education, here with us today. If this is your first time joining us for one of the series sessions, welcome. If you are a veteran attendee of the series, thank you so much for joining us again. Just a quick recap of what the purpose of this series is really just to open up those lines of transparency, so that faculty can share with other faculty about what they're doing to intentionally engage their associate faculty, other core faculty within their program, some of the challenges that they've gone through, as well as some of the ways that they've overcome those challenges. And the main thing to remember is these are all just ideas. Take what you want, leave the rest. If you have ideas about the subject that we're talking about today, please feel free to put those in the chat. Just to let you know, Stacy had asked to make sure that she had time at the end to do question and answer. She may not be able to see the chat as she's going along, so feel free to put the questions in. I'll tag them. Otherwise, we'll just wait till the end, and you can put your questions in there, and Stacy will get to those. So without further ado, please welcome Stacy.
All right. Well, Kate, thank you very much for the lovely introduction, and thank all of you for attending today. As Kate mentioned, I'll be sharing with you some of the tips and best practices and strategies that I found effective in communicating with associate faculty, specifically in Paul 201, over the last, probably 3 or 4 years now. Now, the key, of course, for all of us as we communicate with our associate faculty is to really build and foster meaningful and authentic engagement and support with them. We want to build those relationships. And in this case, as we'll be discussing today, would be through communication. Many of the suggestions and tips that I'm presenting today are things that you can hopefully actually implement right away into your workflow if you so choose. And they certainly, at least in my case, have been effective in establishing that rapport with associate faculty members. Kate, can you go to the next slide? Go to the next one. Okay, that's fine for right now. So some of the strategies that I'm going to be discussing today really did work better than others. And a big part of that was dependent upon who I was talking to. So knowing our associate faculty members, which I think all of us really get to do through IQRs, through general email, through phone chats. I'm particularly lucky in Paul 201, American Federal Government, because we're a relatively small group compared to other courses within the Division of General Education that might have hundreds of associate faculty members. We have about 40-ish. So it's easier for myself and our course lead, Jamie Weidel, to really establish a communication strategy and really to get to know our associate faculty members. So again, knowing who they are helps me choose which particular strategies or vehicles of communication that I'm going to use, as does the particular situation or scenario. So let's go ahead and get started. Existential psychologist Rollo May said, as you can see on the slide here, that communication leads to community, to understanding, to intimacy, and mutual valuing. And for me, with that quote, the two things that really pop out to me is the sense of community and mutual valuing. I spent many years as an associate faculty member for Ashford, for a local community college, And I remember what that life was like and how important it was for me to truly feel like I was a member of the community, that I was valued and appreciated. And I make a conscious effort as a core full-time faculty member to use that experience and move it forward as I communicate with our associate faculty members. I want to ensure that I'm keeping that in mind. I'm actively and intentionally keeping that in mind as I craft and choose how I'm going to communicate with the associate faculty members, as well as how I want them to receive the message that I'm intending to receive or to send. Next slide, please, Kate. So some of the things that I have personally found particularly helpful in communicating with our associate faculty members is to intentionally think about the why, right? Why is it important to take the time to be thoughtful and intentional in engaging our associate faculty members? Well, obviously, it shows them inclusion. It builds a sense of community and colleagueship. It encourages buy-in for them to truly feel that they have a vested interest in the class. It illustrates that the associate faculty are absolutely an integral part of our course team, right? For Paul 201, we could not do what we do for our students without the associate faculty. And I think it's important for them to feel that as much as possible. And it also can increase a sense of connectedness for the associate faculty members with us as the leadership for Paul 201, with the university. It can help motivate the associate faculty for stronger engagement, which can be moved forward to increase performance in the classes for the students as well. So it's sort of a win-win situation all the way around, or at least it has been in my experience. Now, how I do that, obviously, are going to be in different types of communications. I'm not going to talk about all of them with you today, but I will talk to you about 5 or 6 of the most general that I tend to use, which would be general emails, IQR emails, a holiday or a special occasion communication, a personal handwritten note, a video or a video response. Kate, can you go ahead and go to the next slide for us, please? So in this first example, what this is showing you is a general email outreach. We know that our associate faculty tend to get inundated with many emails every week. I know as a core faculty member, when I first started, I noticed that I was often sending communications mainly when I needed something from the associate faculty member. You know, maybe it was I needed, I needed them to accept a paper late or change some performance measures, whatever it was. And it occurred to me as I was progressing through that first year or so, is that I wasn't reaching out to the associate faculty members just to talk to them, just to find out how things are going, right? What's going on in your life? The class stuff is important too, but who are you as a person, and what's going on with you? So this is an example of just one short and sweet, using the KISS method, keep it simple, short. And I'm just asking the associate faculty member, how they're doing, right? And I try to be open and transparent and honest with them. Hey, it's I want to talk to you more than just in our once a year IQR phone chat, right? Every now and then I just want to see how you're feeling, how things are going in the class. And to remind them that their experience, their expertise is valued and appreciated, and we're certainly here to help them. This kind of a email, I can tell you, I send a couple a month, and I almost always get a response. It's always meaningful, and I have seen an uptick in performance, because again, I think this is another way that It values the associate faculty member on that personal human level. And it also gets their minds going about what's good about my class? What do I enjoy about teaching? Or, hey, what can we tweak? So again, it's another one of those win-win situations where it helps us as the leadership for the course, it helps the associate faculty member, it builds engagement, and all of that makes for a more meaningful experience for our students in the long run. Next slide, please, Kate. Another communication vehicle that I use is in relation to IQR emails. Now, all of you know that because of the nature of the beast, some of our IQR emails can come across as a form letter or somewhat less personal than we want it to. Part of that obviously is just because it has to be. But I think about the associate faculty members who've been here 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years. They get the same email year after year. So particularly in scenarios or cases where I've noticed something exceptional. Maybe it has been, as in this case, I had an instructor who went through a round of coaching about a year beforehand, had significant improvement on his IQR. So I noticed that and I valued it. And I wanted to celebrate that with them. It also helps that within the Division of General Education, when we send the letters to our associate faculty members with their IQR results, we also copy in our associate dean and our executive dean. So when I can celebrate something so positive with the associate faculty member, and it happens to go to the big bosses at the top, I think that's another way to really value and recognize the skill and the expertise and the talents of our associate faculty members. So in this particular case, I tweaked up the email, the IQR email to the instructor, and I would, again, just open, honest, authentic, transparent. And I said, hey, I'm proud of you. And I was very proud of him. He made some positive improvements, had significant impact for his students. I was proud of his hard work. And I wanted to acknowledge and celebrate those successes with him, which we did during a really wonderful and meaningful IQR phone chat a week or so later. Next slide, please, Kate. So another type of communication that we try to use for a holiday or a special occasion would be a personalized card. You could send it via mail, you could send it via email. One of the reasons that I think it's important for us as core faculty and our course leadership to provide our associate faculty with our faces is, again, engagement. Engagement is a two-way street, right? It's not just we expect associate faculty to engage with students, but we need to engage, take the time to authentically engage with our associate faculty too. We need to model those things that we want to see them do. One of the ways that we can do that is by putting our face, right, out in front of the associate faculty. So just as it's important for students to see our faces with the words on the screen in our classrooms, I think it's effective for our associate faculty to see the course lead, Jamie Weidl's face, and my face, to make those personal and human connections. So something as simple as doing a quick little ditty in Word or another software program and sending it out to the associate faculty members can certainly be effective. I know that we tend to get a lot of responses from these types of communications as well. And again, it's just that somebody's taking the time to reach out to them for something positive and to remember them, especially for a special occasion or a holiday time. Next slide, Kate, please. Another vehicle that I use to engage our associate faculty is to, when I want to make a real personal human connection, is to send them a personalized card. Now, in this particular case, this is what I do when I notice something that is like really over the top exceptional. It's probably what I think of as the most powerful tool in my tool belt when it comes to engaging associate faculty. I want you all to just think back in your own life and just in your personal life. When was the last time you received a handwritten, personalized note from anyone for any reason? Right? A long time, right? And when you did, it was probably really meaningful and special. So in this particular case, I had an instructor who had a very, very challenging classroom management student scenario. It was actually really big. He handled it wonderfully, very professional, very supportive. It required skill and expertise and patience and understanding. And I know that that instructor took the extra time to give that level of service and support and expertise to the student. So the least I could do was take 5 minutes out of my day and on Ashford letterhead or cardstock to sit down, and for 5 minutes, I wrote him a handwritten note, right? I addressed it, I sent it off in the mail, right? And when he received that, it was so meaningful to him that, I mean, he reached out to me and he literally told me that in the 10 years he'd been with Ashford, that is the most connected he'd ever felt and the most appreciated. And it literally took 5 minutes out of my day. And I think, to me, it was a small gesture that reciprocated and acknowledged and valued the engagement that that instructor has with our students. So again, it's what I think of as the most powerful tool in my tool belt. And I do think that in the times that I've used it, I don't use it often. And I only use it for special occasions, but it has been one of the most effective. So one other strategy or vehicle that I use for associate faculty engagement is a personalized video response. So as core faculty members, we've all had many, many emails from associate faculty where they've simply reached out to ask us, hey, Stacy, how do you deal with XYZ scenario in the classroom? Or, I've got a student who says this about the content. I'm not real sure how to, how would you handle this in your class? Or maybe it's a scenario like you'll see in this video. Hey, Stace, I'm trying to reply to a student in the introduction via video, and I can't figure it out in Canvas, right? So yes, I could have sent the instructor a job aid. I could have written out a long War and Peace, level email with bullet points to explain how to do it. Or I could have taken 5 minutes and engaged with that faculty member, given them my time, shared my voice, my face via video with them, and literally just talked them through it. So I won't show you the entire video, but Kate, I'll tell you when to stop. But if you can start the video, I'll show you just one quick example of how I would start a video response for an instructor. So if you can go ahead and play. Thanks, Kate.
Hi, Mark. This is Stacy and my cat. Sorry. I wanted to just show you quickly how I do an instructor video response. So I'm going to shut my video off here so that you can see my screen. So bear with me. It might take us a few minutes, but I think this might be easier to show you instead of trying to explain it in a long email. So let's give it a whirl.
Okay, Kate, you can stop at that point. I think all of you, probably know how to do a video response and an introduction for students. Kate will be sending out the slide deck and the recording later, and if you want to, you're certainly more than welcome to view the whole video, but I just didn't want to take the time to do that here. If you can go to the next slide, Kate. So that gives you all like the top 5 or 6 vehicles or types of communications that I use to engage associate faculty that hopefully you'll be able to implement in your workflow if you wish. I'd like us to use the remainder of our time, we've got about 9 minutes or so left, to really just have a conversation, an open conversation, to talk about any questions that you may have. And again, as I said, my contact information and the recording and the slide deck, so Kate will send all of that to you probably sometime next week. So I'm ready for questions, Kate.
Well, I think, one of the questions that I had was around, you were talking about relationship building, and that depending on who the faculty member is, it can vary on how you're going to communicate with them. One of the things that I liked that you showed is that after you had worked with a faculty member, you circled back and commented on their improvement. Is that something that you do as a practice? Do you see that people appreciate the recognition of their improvement? Or is it just kind of another piece of mail from a faculty member?
No, it's absolutely intentional. And I'd like to say, of course, I always do that, and obviously sometimes we can. I do try to make it an intentional practice, especially when it's something significant. If I've taken an associate faculty member through formal coaching or mentoring session during a class, excuse me, or I've noted something on IQR that, specifically feedback, especially written assignment feedback. So if I notice something, I do try to take a peek in the next class to see if we've seen improvement and that improvement was maintained. And when I do see it, yeah, I want to reach out, even if it's a quick three sentence email, hey, Fred, I saw that you implemented some of the feedback we discussed in your IQR. Great job. Keep up the good work. And, if you want to bounce ideas around. So whatever it is. And again, I think it values the associate faculty member. It engages them. And it certainly values and recognizes that they're actually doing the things that we want and need them to do.
A couple of the things that you had shown, your video included your cat and your handwritten message. Though beautiful, did not have perfect penmanship. Do you feel like you are, like that has been something that stopped you from doing these things in the past, like trying to be perfect for your associate faculty members? Or do you feel like it is helpful to kind of show just who you are as a person to your faculty when you're communicating?
I mean, I will be completely honest. When we first transitioned to Canvas, and even now, doing video responses for students, doing video responses for instructors, even presenting on video as I am here, it's not my favorite thing to do, right? I have to expand and come out of my comfort zone, and I was at first worried, oh, I've got to do my hair today, I've got to slap on makeup, I've got to, I need to practice to ensure that I enunciate well. I had all of these things in my head, and what I noticed after doing it a few times, students and instructors, they didn't care about that stuff. They wanted to see me as a real person, as a human being, right? when my cat or my dog video bombs me, I don't re-record that thing. Students love that. Instructors like that, right? When I'm doing an IQR phone chat and an instructor's child pops up and says, you know, Dad, I got to go to the bathroom. So what, right? We're people and stuff happens. And so I'm intentional about not trying to be perfect. I want my instructors to be who they are in their classrooms. And I think I need to give them that same courtesy by being who I am. Even the gaffes and the guffaws and the imperfections. And by the way, that was my best handwriting. Just saying.
I have awful handwriting, so no worries. Kristen Ballard had shared that she also does the cards to some of her students. And Kathleen Kelly remembered back when you were still an instructional specialist that you would send out personalized holiday cards. And she said it made her year. But, you know, so you named a number of opportunities to connect with and engage with your associate faculty. How much time are we talking about to, you know, craft emails and handwrite? Because right, there's, you know, all of our faculty have full plates, and I know that you have a full plate as well. How do you reconcile the time that you take to engage with your faculty and balance that against your workload?
I schedule it in as part of my workflow. So in my mind, it's part of what I do at this point. I've gotten so used to it. You know, am I spending hours a week doing this stuff? No, I'm not. Nope. It's just not going to happen every week. When I do IQRs, if I notice something spectacular, yes, I'm going to loop in and probably follow one of these strategies. If I notice something after I've done coaching and mentoring, because we all have a process and a flow of certain things that we do, I incorporate it as part of it. I would honestly say that I probably spend less than an extra hour a week intentionally engaging with our associate faculty members in this way. You know, and again, it's helpful that I have a small faculty pool, right? So I don't connect to each faculty member every year, but probably within 2 or 3 years, when I notice something, you know, or even honestly, when I don't notice something, I kind of make a note, a little checklist of who I've sent things to. But within a couple of years, most of the faculty of our associate faculty would have received at least a little nugget, a little bit of something from me to really engage and make that human connection. And I do think that I've seen the outcomes of that in an increased and more engaged faculty body overall in our course in PAL 2OL.
Awesome. Well, Stacy, we are running close to the end of our time here. I know you had one more slide that you wanted to share.
Oh, yeah, that's just if anyone has additional questions, comments, if you want to bounce ideas around, I'm certainly happy to collaborate with my colleagues across the university. So send me an email. I might Zoom video response you back, or I might just email you back. You just never know.